Good evening. It's Wednesday, the 25th of January, and it's time for the news on RIK2. Government spokesman Nikos Christodoulidis has said that President Anastasiadis and Turkish Cypriot leader Mustafa Akinci will discuss how to proceed forward at their scheduled meeting tomorrow. He added that they will decide how to continue discussing issues on the 5 internal chapters on which there are still gaps, and will also review the process at Geneva and Montpellier. President Anastasiadis had a meeting with his negotiating team ahead of tomorrow's meeting. Christodoulidis said that the president took notice of Gel's suggestion that the Geneva conference should not be reconvened without further convergences on internal issues still pending, but added that the internal aspect of the Cyprus problem is not connected with the international aspect. He also said that the National Council will meet shortly to discuss pending issues. United Nations emissary on Cyprus, Espanbath Ida, has said that the role of the Security Council on Cyprus is extremely important, but noted that there is no precedence of the Council participating in conferences. In an interview with the Cyprus news agency, Ida did not exclude the possibility for the Security Council to invite the two community leaders to get a briefing from them, adding that it might be a good idea. Asked what makes him think that the Geneva conference will unlock the process all the way down to a settlement, he said the factors that influenced his belief are that the conference was convened, the sides in Cyprus agreed to invite the guarantor powers, and that they agreed and took part. On the issues of guarantees, Ida said that new formulas are needed that would entail enough change for this to be perceived as a real positive movement forward for the Greek Cypriots, while at the same time addressing the concerns of the Turkish Cypriots. Just before Ida's interview, Security Council sources said that during consultations, Russia, China and Egypt had supported a more active involvement of the Security Council in the process for a Cyprus settlement. The representatives of the three countries pointed out that the Security Council will be called at some stage to adopt a resolution on an eventual agreement for the reunification of Cyprus. However, none of the Security Council members raised the issue of its active participation in the Geneva conference. Ida told journalists after the consultations that it is important for the Security Council to be united on Cyprus and approve normally the extension of the United Nations peacekeeping force in Cyprus. British Prime Minister Theresa May will have talks with her Turkish counterpart Binali Yildirim and President Tayyip Erdogan in Ankara on Saturday that will touch upon the Cyprus problem. A 10 Downing Street spokesman said that her agenda includes bilateral trade, defence and NATO security, combating terrorism, the Cyprus problem and the refugee issue. May will travel to Turkey one day after her visit in Washington with new US President Donald Trump, who will meet a foreign leader for the first time since assuming office. May and Erdogan have already said that the current negotiations, including the Geneva round of talks, offer a real opportunity for a better future for Cyprus. Britain has said that it stands ready to take part in the Geneva conference at an appropriate level of representation when the negotiations are resumed on a political level. Cyprus negotiator Andreas Mavroyiannis assured overseas Cypriots in the United States that nothing is being done in the negotiations for a solution to the Cyprus problem that will jeopardize the Republic of Cyprus and Greek Cypriots. He was speaking during a gathering in New York to honor outgoing permanent representative at the United Nations, Ambassador Nikos Emiliou, who is taking up as the head of the Brussels Cypriot diplomatic mission. Mavroyiannis said that there are alarming messages, but urged overseas Cypriots not to worry. He stressed that the government would never do anything that would jeopardize Greek Cypriots. He also said that at the Geneva talks, Turkish Cypriots submitted a map for the first time, and a point had been reached that the Cyprus problem is being examined as an issue of invasion and occupation, with Turkey discussing troops withdrawal and changing the guarantee system. The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development has said it is ready to invest in the occupied part of Cyprus, potentially for years, if a deal to unify the divided island can be reached. International mediators are cautiously optimistic of a deal this year, with two moderate community leaders of Cyprus attempting to negotiate the reunification as a two-zone federation. EBRD President Suma Chakrabarti has said that should the referendum on an eventual deal in Cyprus be positive, the bank will certainly aim to increase its investment in Cyprus, giving special attention to the occupied northern part, which is less developed than the areas under government control. Germany's centre-left Social Democrats SPD has nominated former European Parliament President Martin Schulz as their candidate to run against Angela Merkel for the post of Chancellor in September's national election. The nomination followed party leader Sigmar Gabriel's decision to stand aside for Schulz. Opinion polls suggest Schulz, aged 61, has a better, though still a small chance than Gabriel of unseating the conservative Merkel. Gabriel said that Schulz has taken a tough stance against right-wing populism across Europe and will fight for social justice and democracy. Islamist militants today rammed a car bomb into a gate of a hotel and stormed inside, killing at least 13 people in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. Gunfire rang out as fighters entered Daya Hotel, which is popular with politicians. A second blast shook the area shortly afterwards, injuring several people nearby. A police officer said the security forces later managed to secure the building and rescue people inside. Belgian police searched houses around Brussels as part of an anti-terrorism investigation today, arresting 7 people who were detained by court order pending investigations. Federal prosecutors said in a statement that the investigations relate to the possible return of Islamic State fighters from Syria. The federal police said that today's operations were focused on about 8 areas and were not linked to recent attacks in Brussels or Paris. Now for the weather forecast. It will start out partly cloudy tomorrow, later becoming mostly cloudy, leading to isolated rain in the afternoon. Winds will be moderate, southwesterly to northwesterly, force 4, becoming fresh to strong over windward areas, force 5 to 6. The sea will be moderate. Temperatures will reach 14 Celsius inland, 16 in coastal areas and 8 over the mountains. The depth of snow is 77 centimetres on Mount Olympus and 60 on Troodos Square. That's all from us here. Join us tomorrow for more news in English. Have a very good evening.